7 Sinister Paranormal Encounters Exposed, spine-chilling videos you must not watch alone. The sun dipped below the horizon, casting eerie shadows across the neighborhood of Cloverfield. Jessica fumbled for her keys, her heart racing with every click in the dark. Another late shift at the diner had drained her, each hour stretched thin under the hum of greasy fryers and laughter that felt muffled compared to the silence that awaited her at home. The front door creaked open, and the weight of loneliness pressed heavily against her chest as she stepped inside. The familiar tension coiled tightly in her gut, amplified by an unsettling silence that hung like fog. After another grueling night, as she settled down with her trusty laptop, a peculiar email caught her eye. The title sent chills spiraling down her spine. 7 Sinister Paranormal Encounters Exposed, spine-chilling videos you must not watch alone. Every instinct screamed to ignore it, but curiosity clawed at her. What if it held answers, distractions, possibly even a thrill? She clicked the link. The screen flickered to life, revealing darkened streets and shadowy figures moving about like marionettes on strings. Each clip played out like a nightmare come alive. Footage of backyard apparitions and flickering porch lights surrounded by a deafening void sent her heart into overdrive. The sinister whispers echoing in the background slithered into her ears, each chilling sound pricking her skin. And then, there it was. A ghostly specter resembling Mr. Remington, her missing neighbor, lurking in the exact corner of her backyard. The dread settled in her bones and tangled into her thoughts. Night after night, Jessica found herself shackled to the screen, re-watching the same terrifying footage. Each time, it only deepened the impending sense of doom clawing at her sanity. Strange things began to happen around the house. Objects misplaced, a rustling noise echoing from outside, shadows dancing at the corners of her vision. As her children giggled about their friends visiting at night, panic rose thick and suffocating. Before we continue, I need to tell you something important that's happening. YouTube has been making changes to their system, and many people are missing notifications from channels they follow. If you're enjoying the content, click the bell and select all notifications so you don't miss future videos. And if you can leave a like, it really helps me with reach. Seriously, it makes a difference. Oh, tell me in the comments where you're watching from. I'm always curious to know who's on the other side of the screen. Now, let's continue. Sinking deeper, isolated in her fears, Jessica found local law enforcement dismissing her concerns as childish whims, leaving her feeling more helpless than ever. Just shadows, Jessica. Kids have wild imaginations, they'd murmur with tired smiles, their indifference only fueling her desperation. But a mother's instinct never lies, and she'd seen enough to know that shadows aren't just shadows. Was Mr. Remington's dark legacy still lurking in Cloverfield? Or was the true horror woven through the very fabric of her neighbor's smiles? As the wind howled through the cracks in her window and her children's laughter morphed into haunting whispers, uncertainty chilled her bones. Jessica could feel it, the encroaching danger disguised as familiarity, tightening its grip. And then it happened. A loud, sharp knock echoed through her darkened home, each reverberation rattling her fragile resolve. Her heart thundered in her chest, and with trembling hands she approached the door. What waited beyond? Would this be a confrontation with the truth of the neighborhood's past, or had she unwittingly invited darkness into her own home? Jessica's hand hovered over the doorknob, dread pooling in her stomach. The knock sounded again, louder and more insistent, like a demand for entry. She held her breath, straining to hear anything beyond the rhythmic pulse of her heart. Was it her imagination, or did she hear a faint whispering mixed with the wind? "Mom?" came a voice from down the hallway. "Who is it?" Sarah, her youngest, curled in a blanket, her wide eyes full of innocence and fear. Jessica forced a smile, though panic twisted her insides. It's nothing, sweetheart, just a little noise." The knocking ceased, replaced by an ominous silence that felt heavier than the night itself. She knew deep down that the shadows outside were not empty. But as her breath steadied, a different feeling crept in. Was it dread or curiosity? She turned the knob slowly. The door creaked open, revealing nothing. Just the quiet backyard blanketed in darkness, the moonlight unable to penetrate the thick veil of fear that hung over her home. She stepped outside, the cool breeze sending shivers down her spine. "Hello?" she called out, her voice wavering. The flickering porch light buzzed ominously overhead, casting long, twisting shadows across the yard. A movement caught her eye by the corner of the fence. A figure, barely visible, seemed to dissolve into the darkness as soon she turned her gaze upon it. "Mr. Remington?" she whispered to herself. A chill enveloped her, the night's air thick with unspoken words and memories. Her children's laughter echoed somewhere in her mind, blending into the memory of Mr. Remington. His absence carved a pit in her thoughts, a twisted knot of grief and fear. "Mommy?" Sarah's voice called again, pulling her back. Jessica forced herself to look away from the shadows. "I'm here, just checking." Together, she and Sarah stepped back inside, the door shutting tight behind them, blocking out the ominous whispers from beyond. Yet the stillness was deceiving. As she moved to the living room, her phone chimed, a new message. Hesitantly, she opened it. "Did you see the videos?" The sender was unknown. The message sent shivers down her spine. It was no ordinary spam or a prank. Fear swept over her. Someone knew, someone was watching. "What videos?" she typed back, fingers trembling. The reply came swiftly, almost too quickly. "The ones showing the truth of Cloverfield." "Not the ones you watched, the ones before that, where they reveal what's really happening." Sweat pricked her brow as she bit her lip. A rush of anxiety soared through her veins. Her instinct screamed for her to erase it, block it, to pretend she had never seen it. But another part of her was deeply curious and terrified. "Who are you?" No response. The phone remained ominously silent. A tickle of realization crept in. The neighborhood, the whispers, the old stories whispered among neighbors about shadows and things that once roamed Cloverfield under the cover of darkness. "Mom!" Sarah interrupted the silence, her small voice breaking through like a lifeline. "The TV's on again!" Jessica's heart dropped. She had turned it off before coming outside. Rushing into the living room, her breaths quickened. The screen flickered with distorted images, a chilling tableau of her backyard, with the specter of Mr. Remington shimmering hauntingly. The air turned electric. The comforting hum of the past morphed into the sinister buzzing of her reality. Was the true horror of Cloverfield brewing just beneath the surface? Then a sudden crack from outside made her freeze. She turned again to the door, each noise echoing against her encroaching fear. She felt the darkness closing in, and then, with a chilling clarity, she understood. This was only the beginning. What if there were more videos, more hidden truths? What lurked in the shadows, just out of sight, that her children were too innocent to perceive? The air felt thick as dread climbed up her throat. She couldn't shake the feeling that she was being drawn into something far worse than she could ever imagine. Jessica clenched her fists. Whatever waited outside, whatever haunted Cloverfield, she had to confront it. But would she be able to face the darkness before it was too late? Her heart raced as she stepped back from the TV, the glow illuminating her wide eyes. The flickering images twisted her gut into knots. It was like watching a nightmare emerge from the recesses of her mind, pulling memories filled with laughter and warmth into icy terror. Mr. Remington's face darted across the screen, his expression warped and haunting. "Mom, I don't like this," Sarah murmured, clutching her blanket tighter. "Me neither, baby," Jessica whispered, unable to tear her gaze away from the screen. Each flicker seemed to pull her deeper, and she fought the urge to reach out and touch someone she lost. Just then, a sound cut through the air. The front door rattled. Jessica jolted, turning toward the sound. Was it the wind, an animal, or something more sinister? "Stay here, Sarah," she commanded, her voice barely louder than a whisper. The knocking came again, more insistent, a rhythmic thud that echoed in her ears like a war drum. She hesitated, paralyzed by the weight of her fears, then cautiously moved towards the door. With each step, memories flitted through her mind. Mr. Remington's warning about the darkness that lingered when the sun fell. "This place has a history," he had said. "There are things that don't want to be found." She didn't want to remember, not while shadows danced behind her in the corners of the dimly lit hallway. The knocking intensified, and with it, dread seeped deeper into her skin. "Who's there?" she croaked, her voice barely recognizable. "Jessica," a raspy voice echoed through the door, ripping through her like icy claws. It sounded familiar, yet wrong. "Let me in." Her breath caught. Was that Mr. Remington? Suddenly, the television screen flickered, and the distorted images morphed into something new. Dark shapes darting in and out of clarity. Sound rising into a chaos of whispers that crawled beneath her skin. "Mommy!" Sarah squeaked, her voice trembling. Jessica turned. "I told you to stay!" But before she could comfort her daughter, the door creaked open, as if inviting the terror inside. The air chilled instantly, and horror dripped from its edges. Outside stood a shadow, tall, lanky, and enveloped in darkness. It moved, but not like a person, more like something desperately trying to mimic human form, arms twisted and eyes devoid of light. "Jessica," the voice wobbled, echoing in her mind where love once lived. Tears pooled in her eyes, blending fear with sorrow. It couldn't be. She was staring at a horror, not just beyond the door, but deep within their shared past. A soft tug at her sleeve. "What is it?" Sarah's innocent voice sounded so fragile against the returning nightmare. Before she could respond, the figure outside beckoned. "Come." Instinct kicked in, repulsion surging through her. She slammed the door shut, locking it with shaking hands. "Stay back, Sarah!" The room plunged into eerie silence, the knocking now replaced with a low chant. The sound crept through the keyhole, each syllable curling like smoke around her thoughts. "I see you," it whispered. "I see what you hide." Her phone vibrated again. "Mom, check the video. You'll understand." Oh God, she had to see these hidden truths, the truth of Cloverfield. But dread gnawed at her thoughts, warning her to resist. "Don't look, Jessica," she thought, gripping her hair. "Mommy, is it gone?" Sarah whimpered, eyes darting between the door and the screen that pulsed with life, refusing to look away. "Not yet," Jessica breathed, heart hammering. This couldn't be real. But the weight of fear closed around her like a vice. If she didn't see it, if she didn't confront it, what would happen next? Her fingers hesitated over her phone. What if the person behind the message was just as dangerous? What if there are more? The screen illuminated with a video titled, "Dangerous Secrets About Cloverfield." And even though she trembled, she had to know what was out there. What truths were lurking behind the veil of those flickering shadows? As the video began to play, the chanting turned into a shriek, and Jessica felt every heartbeat echoing a warning. She settled on the couch, her curiosity overshadowing reason, unaware that the whispers were no longer outside. They were gathering closer. Would she have the strength to confront what she had unwittingly awakened? The screen whispered secrets, each click dragging Jessica deeper into the darkness. Her fingers trembled as she pressed play, drowning in anticipation and dread. The chilling chant continued, weaving a sinister melody that seemed to harmonize with her erratic heartbeat. Dangerous Secrets About Cloverfield loomed large, an ominous title that held no promise of safety. Images flashed on the screen, distorted faces with hollow eyes, twisted shadows creeping across familiar streets, and flickering candles illuminating desperate pleas scrawled on the walls of a forgotten home. Jessica's breath quickened as she leaned closer, the glow of the screen reflecting her horror. "Mommy, please don't watch." Sarah's small voice sounded so distant in the weighty silence. Jessica could feel her daughter's fear. With a swift glance, she saw Sarah's tiny frame huddled in the corner, clutching her blanket with wide, frightened eyes. "Just a second, sweetheart," she managed to whisper, but she was losing control. The video had wrapped around her senses, pulling her further into a web of dread spun from hidden truths. A still frame paused on the video, revealing Mr. Remington, his face twisted in agony. He wasn't just a memory now, he was a warning. As the video resumed, a voice rose, low and ominous. "You can't hide from what you've buried." Jessica's heart sank, something primal stirring within her. What had they buried? The windows rattled, and a chill washed over the room. The shadows in the corners grew darker, more animated, as if they were listening, waiting. Jessica's instinct screamed for her to turn the damn thing off. Yet she pressed on, thoughts spiraling. Could this truly be connected to what happened in their town? Then came the sound, the unmistakable creaking of the floor above, like footsteps, heavy and deliberate. Panic rose in her throat. Who was upstairs? "Sarah," she breathed, her tone turning urgent. "Stay right there." "Mommy, I'm scared." Sarah's voice pierced through the terror, snapping Jessica out of her trance. She met her daughter's wide eyes, filled with innocence, unaware of the dark history lurking in their home. "Shh," Jessica urged, guilt flooding her senses. How could she have let curiosity override her worst fears? Then the whispers echoed again, merging with her thoughts. "Let me in." It was everywhere now, a clamor crawling beneath her skin. "Maybe it's just the wind," she whispered to herself, as much for Sarah as for her own reassurance. But deep down, she knew that sound was deliberate, just like the door had been opened. Sarah squeaked, "Mommy, the door, it's open." The chill of realization froze Jessica. She had locked it. She had been sure. "Sarah, stay close." She moved slowly toward the staircase at the end of the hallway, shadows flickering in her periphery, blurring her vision like dark smoke swirling ominously. Each step felt like it could lead her deeper. Into the abyss. But it was too late. The whispers increased, pulling her gaze back to the screen. There, a flickering image now showed their home from a perspective outside. The door, wide open, an invitation made of fear. The laughter of children echoed, mingling with the haunting chant. "Mom, what's happening?" Sarah trembled by her side. "I don't know, baby." Jessica felt her heart pounding against her ribs like a caged animal desperate to escape. And before she could react, the scream cut to black. Silence blanketed the room, only shattered by the sound of footsteps from above. Heavy, intentional, descending with a deliberate slowness. "Mommy?" Sarah's voice cracked. Jessica felt the weight of dread settle in her stomach, realizing they weren't alone. "Stay behind me, now." She gripped her daughter's arm tightly, heart racing as she peeked toward the darkened hallway. What awaited them, they could not see, but every instinct told her it was on its way. Without warning, the front door swung open, the wind slicing through like a knife. It wasn't just the night outside that chilled her to the bone. Her phone buzzed again, cutting through the tension. A text lit up the screen. "You should have never watched. It's just the beginning." The shadows grew restless, and Jessica felt an icy breath on her neck. What is coming for them, she thought. With fear surging through her veins, she couldn't look away from those endless whispers echoing the darkness around them. Intuition clawed at her mind with urgency. If only she had the strength to fight back, to protect them from what was breaking through. But then again, how could one stand against something that already knew the depths of her fear? And outside, footsteps echoed loudly, beckoning them into an unknown nightmare. Jessica's heart raced as she felt the tension in the air shift. It thickened, pressing against her lungs. The front door hung open, the darkness coiling at its edges like a predator waiting to pounce. She felt Sarah's tiny grip on her arm tighten, fear radiating from her child in waves. Something was coming. She could feel it in her bones. "Stay close," she hissed, inching with unsteady steps toward the staircase. The footsteps from above ceased, leaving a heavy silence that rumbled with anticipation. Jessica turned her head slowly, half expecting to see an intruder lurking in the shadowy expanse. "Mommy?" Sarah whispered, her voice cracking like thin ice. "What if it's a monster?" The question hung in the air, sharp and real. Jessica's memories flickered through her mind like a fast-forwarded film. Stories of childhood fears, monsters under the bed, ghouls in the closet. But this felt more tangible, more sinister. She squeezed her daughter's hand tighter. "Monsters aren't real," she tried to reassure herself as much as Sarah, but her voice trembled. Suddenly, the screen flickered back to life, a ghostly glow illuminating the room. Jessica spun around, her eyes drawn back to the phone that lay forgotten on the coffee table. It glowed with an almost sinister luminescence, displaying fresh images that sent an icy spear through her heart. Their home appeared again, this time from the outside. The wind howled, carrying faint cries, their own voices. "Mommy, let me in!" echoed from the speakers, but Jessica hadn't spoken. She hadn't called out for help. "Turn it off!" she shouted instinctively, but her hands felt paralyzed, anchored to fear. The video didn't respond. It spiraled deeper into madness, showcasing yet another hidden clip of the streets outside, their street, gleaming under the moonlight. Shadows danced along the sidewalks, figures flickered in and out, too quick to comprehend with human vision. Each frame revealed more twisted sights, children with haunting smiles, flitting through the darkness, beckoning with blood-red hands. Laughter echoed like a distant warning, insidious and devoid of joy. The laughter, it was all so familiar. Jessica's breath caught in her throat as her mind scrambled to piece together the familiar voices. No, it can't be. Mommy, who are they? Sarah trembled, burying her face against Jessica's leg. Just stay close, she whispered, backing away slowly, the screen holding her hostage with 1,000 secrets begging to be unearthed. As she stepped back, her foot knocked against something hard, a shoebox by the door she hadn't noticed before. In the shadows, it seemed harmless, but dread clawed at her as her heart pulsed wildly. "We need to go, sweetheart. Come on," Jessica urged, feeling the threat rising like a wave, ready to crash down upon them. She grabbed Sarah's hand, ready to bolt for safety. But before she could reach the door, guttural voices began singing in unison, weaving through their reality, voices that echoed through the walls. "Stay with us. You are part of us now." The ground beneath them shook slightly, disbelief swirling in Jessica's gut as that familiar sensation gnawed at her. Were they the very spirits entangled with the home's dark history? The whispers transformed into screams, piercing her sanity, and Sarah cowered closer, nails digging into her mother's palm. "Mommy, I can't take it." Jessica clapped her hands over her ears, desperation enveloping her. "We need to leave." She looked with wild eyes toward the door, her legs ready to bolt. But it happened again. The screen shimmered, displaying another message. The chilling text blazed to life. "Those who know too much may never escape." The camera panned across the street once more, revealing figures now standing in front of their house, faces obscured, watching. The wind carried the faintest hint of laughter again, but now a growl underlined it. Shadows began creeping toward the door. "We're trapped," Jessica's thoughts raced. There had to be a way out. She glanced to the phone for answers, fingers shaking, barely able to function. Just then, a ghostly whisper curled around her, too intimate to ignore. "Join us." She turned back to Sarah. "We need to run," she said, panic gripping her voice. They hadn't been watching something as innocent as a video. It was a doorway. But as they lunged toward the door, the shadows surged forward, and the children's laughter crescendoed, drowning Jessica in terror. "Mommy!" Sarah's scream echoed in the dark, resonating with panic as they reached the threshold. Something shifted just beyond the doorframe, a figure filled with aching familiarity, confirming that the danger was very real and very close. "Jessica!" it said, voice hollow and inviting. In that moment, her grip loosened and a decision loomed. Who would she protect? The figure smiled wider, eyes glinting with predatory hunger. And outside, the wind joined the chant, a low murmur creeping toward them, growing ever closer. What awaited them out there was yet to be seen, but their nights of safety had come to an end. Jessica felt the air crackle with a sinister energy as she faced the figure standing just beyond the doorway. Her heart thundered in her chest, drowning out the chaos swirling around them. The voice that called her name sent chills dancing down her spine. It sounded just like her own mother, sweet and luring, yet twisted with malevolence. "Mommy!" Sarah whimpered, her small body trembling against Jessica's leg. The weight of the choice pressed heavily on Jessica's shoulders. The figure waited, expression unchanging, like a predator enjoying its prey's fear. "Stay back!" she shouted, her voice breaking, but the shadows crept forward, filling the entryway. The laughter from outside crescendoed, morphing into a cacophony that rattled the very foundation of the house. "Join us!" the figure rasped again, its lips curling into a grotesque smile, revealing teeth that glimmered oddly in the dim light. The invitation hung in the air, poisoned with promise and threat. Jessica tightened her grip on Sarah, fear intertwining with the instinct to protect. "We have to go, now!" But her words felt like sand against the rising tide of terror. The figure shifted, stepping closer, the shadows enveloping it, making it seem impossibly larger. "Mommy," Sarah's voice broke to a whisper, vividly aware of the darkness coiling around them. With a sudden surge of strength, Jessica launched toward the door, dragging Sarah behind her. But as they reached the frame, another cry split the air, a haunting voice that echoed through her memories. "Jessica, you can't leave me! Don't go!" It was a child's voice, but one she had never heard, never known. It swirled through her like a dark mist, dancing along her skin, anchoring her feet to the ground. "Don't listen!" Jessica shouted, her breath coming in ragged gasps. "It's a trick! Come on!" But as she pulled at Sarah's hand, a cold draft swept through the open door, and the shadows thickened, clawing at her resolve. The screen chimed with another blinding light, the phone flaring to life again. The ghastly imagery spilled over, showing more of the street outside. The children from the video now stood among the cloaked figures, their eyes shining bright red, calling to Sarah with twisted little fingers. "Join us! It's fun!" Jessica gasped as a strangled, "Sarah, look at me!" Sarah's gaze flickered from the figure to her mother, but the pull of the vision was strong. Jessica felt her daughter's hesitation, an internal battle raging behind those innocent eyes. "We need to go!" she yelled, panic taking control. The chilling laughter intensified, wrapping around Jessica like icy chains. "This isn't real!" she cried, and with a desperate lunge, she grabbed her daughter's other hand, ready to burst through the door. But the shadows surged forward, clawing at their ankles like a thunderous tide. They pulled back, reality warping further with each beat of Jessica's pulse. "Mommy, I want to stay with them!" Sarah cried, her small fingers slipping from Jessica's. Time seemed to stretch in that moment. Jessica's heart pounded in a synchrony with the racing shadows. They filled her with icy dread, whispering promises of safety and joy, but she knew better. "No!" she screamed, yanking Sarah closer, anchoring them both against the chaos that threatened to engulf them. But the weight of the air shifted again. The figure stepped into the doorway, its presence both alluring and horrifying. "Jessica, remember the promise?" it lured, using words once exchanged in love, but now twisted in malice. "Come home." The shadows echoed the sentiment, swirling and whispering their song, rising and falling like a sinister tide around them. As an unearthly grin spread upon the figure's face, Jessica realized the truth. We weren't just running from danger. They were being beckoned home to something far more sinister. "Mommy, help!" Sarah's eyes were wide, pools of innocence caught in horror. But as Jessica tore her gaze from the darkness, everything shifted with a blinding flash. The video distorted on the coffee table, the screen flickering wildly. It changed, morphing to reveal images of the house itself, twisted and darkened, yet alive with silhouettes. Returning herself to reality was like dragging a weight through quicksand. Fear coursed through her body as she desperately searched for any means to escape. Then, just beyond the threshold, a chilling harmony began to chant, rising in pitch and urgency. "Join us. We are one." Before she could react, a freezing grip clasped around her ankle, yanking her backward. Jessica's heart thundered as she felt the ground give way beneath her, the shadows laughing, gleeful in their victory. Just as she prepared to fight, her scream erupting into the chaos, a realization hit her. This wasn't just about escaping. It was a battle for Sarah's soul, a fight against something that had already found a home in their hearts. In that heart-stopping instant, with shadows drawing in like fog on a cold night, she saw only darkness ahead, realizing they might never leave. And the last flicker of light faded, swallowed by the encroaching blackness, leaving nothing but a hollow echo of laughter behind. The darkness enveloped them, choking out all sense of space. Jessica felt the cold grip of despair tightening around her like a vice. The laughter faded to an eerie silence, but the pull of the shadows remained potent, a relentless tide dragging her toward an abyss. "Mommy!" Sarah's voice splintered through the void. The child was slipping away, and Jessica could feel it. Panic surged anew, igniting a fire of determination within her. She couldn't let herself be consumed. Not now, not ever. With a fierce tug, she yanked Sarah closer as the shadows writhed violently, merging into grotesque shapes that mocked her struggle. "Stay with me, sweetheart. Just stay with me." The malevolent figure loomed, its grin widening, revealing jagged teeth that seemed to stretch impossibly. "You cannot fight what is destined, Jessica. We are waiting for you." Time warped, stretching and stuttering as echoes of laughter returned. Those children, once glowing with innocent mirth, now taunted her from every corner of her memory. It was a refrain she couldn't ignore. "Join us! Join us!" The chorus, like nails on a chalkboard, reverberated in her brain. "Get away from us!" she roared, finally striking back. With a surge of adrenaline, Jessica kicked at the shadows, a desperate act of defiance. She felt a flicker of warmth expanding within her, pushing against the encroaching dark. But the shadows retaliated, lunging forward, their icy tendrils grazing her skin, wrapping around her wrists like serpents. The fear she fought so fiercely now dripped into despair, spreading through her veins like poison. She could already imagine what would happen if they lost. What could they do to Sarah? Jessica's mind raced. "You're stronger than this," she pressed herself into reality, willing her thoughts to be steadfast. "You're my daughter, my flesh and blood." The grip around her heart shifted, igniting a stubborn flicker of hope. "Mommy, don't leave me!" Sarah clutched at her, her small fingers digging into Jessica's, grounding her. Jessica's heart swelled with renewed resolve. They could fight this darkness, together. But how? Suddenly, in the depths of her fear, a memory crystallized. A bedtime story, long forgotten. It was about a brave knight and his beloved princess, trapped by an overwhelming darkness. The knight had whispered to the shadows that love was stronger than fear. "Love is stronger than fear," she murmured, trying to hold on to the words, even as the shadows clawed at her resolve. In a moment of clarity, she turned toward Sarah. "Listen to me. I need you to be brave. Think of your friends. Think of the park we go to. Hold on to those feelings." She could see the slight flicker of understanding in Sarah's eyes. The shadows paused, caught off guard by the sudden shift. Breathe, Jessica thought. She had to push through this. This was her chance. She could show Sarah how to break free from the lure of false promises. "Say it with me," Jessica urged, her voice steady. "Love is stronger than fear." A beat. Sarah squeezed Jessica's hand, her tiny mouth moving in a whisper. "Love is stronger than fear." The figure faltered for a moment, its smile flickering as if the incantation had physically struck it. A crack appeared in the dark, letting a sliver of soft light penetrate the shadows. "Fight them," Jessica urged, feeling the warmth of hope wrap around her like a comforting blanket. "Fight for us." "Love is stronger than fear," Sarah shouted, her voice breaking the remnants of shadows around them. The room shuddered. The laughter turned to howls of rage as the shadows clawed at one another, unraveling in a wild frenzy. The light widened, and they caught a glimpse of a path, something tangible amidst the swirling chaos. "Follow me!" Jessica shouted, dragging Sarah forward. The cold claws of darkness released them, thrashing against the encroaching light. But just as they made that first step forward, the air crackled again. "You think this is over?" a voice hissed from behind. The figure lunged, eyes burning with a hatred that sent chills down Jessica's spine. She turned, adrenaline surging as she sensed the imminent threat. They weren't safe yet. As they dived into the light, a thought whispered through her mind. What if the shadows weren't just hunting them? What if they had come for something far worse? Just then, the ground began to tremble beneath their feet. The light flickered violently, and Jessica felt another chill creep down her spine as the very walls of reality threatened to collapse. "Mommy!" Sarah cried, panic spilling into her voice. What if they were not escaping, but rather walking into an even darker trap? With uncertainty surging once more, Jessica pushed forward, determined to protect her daughter. Would the light guide them to safety, or pull them into something even more horrifying? The shadows shrieked behind them, a bitter promise that this nightmare was far from over. The blinding light surged as they ran, an almost desperate sanctuary. Jessica could feel the air thrum around them, vibrating with confusion and malice. She pulled Sarah closer, unwilling to let go, as they dashed toward the shimmering edge. The echoes of shadowy laughter faded, but the weight of dread lingered like a thick fog. She could almost taste it. "Mommy, what is happening?" Sarah trembled, her innocence tinged with fear as she looked up, eyes wide and searching. For reassurance, Jessica squeezed her hand harder. "We'll be okay, honey," she promised, though doubts gnawed at her heart. Every step forward felt like running against the tide, even as the light ahead pulsed like a beacon. The specter of the figure lurked just beyond the edges of perception, its voice dripping with venomous intrigue. "You can't escape from your fate, Jessica. The darkness is part of you." "No!" Jessica yelled back, adrenaline coursing through her veins. "I choose love, not fear." Her words echoed in the air, but she couldn't shake the sensation that the darkness was snickering in reply. Just as they reached the threshold of brightness, a piercing chill enveloped them. Jessica felt the ground tremble violently beneath her, a violent quake she had never experienced before. Panic roiled in her throat, and she stumbled. The light flickered, faltering as she grasped for balance. Suddenly, the path split. Two gaping voids opened up on either side of them. A dark pit to the left, a jagged crack of light to the right. One shimmered with a deceptive hope. The other promised more of the shadows that hunted them. "Mommy, where do we go?" Sarah's small voice wavered as she looked into her mother's eyes, filled with innocent confusion. Jessica hesitated, her heart pounding as she weighed the two options. The shadows hungered at their backs, howling in fury, pressing closer. Behind her, she could sense the twisted figure lying in wait. If they didn't act fast... "Trust your gut, Sarah. We need to move." Taking a deep breath, she darted to the right, pulling Sarah along with her. The light pulsed brighter as they approached, illuminating the crevices of the world around them. But as they dashed forward, the figure reared back, its form beginning to shift. No longer confined to the shadows, it materialized in a haughty, monstrous manner. "You think you can outsmart me?" it boomed, voice echoing through the darkness. "I will devour your hope." Time slowed as the figure lunged. Jessica felt a primal instinct kick in. She ducked low, yanking Sarah down with her, just as a dark claw sliced through the air where they had been only moments before. "Come on," Jessica shouted, scrambling to her feet, dragging her daughter with her. The light ahead began to dim, the shadows encroaching in a frenzy, gnarled faces emerging, searching. Jessica's heart raced, threatening to burst. 1,000 voices wailed in accusation as she fought to stay grounded. "Sarah, we have to believe. Hold my hand and don't look back." They broke into a fitful sprint, the ground quaking with each footfall. Jessica began to chant, the mantra of love blaring through her thoughts. Love is stronger than fear. Love is stronger. But it felt different now, more desperate, more frail. They could feel the shadows crawling over their skin, icy fingers prickling at their resolve. In a frantic moment, despair clawed at Jessica. Shadows weren't just hunting them, they were morphing into lingering memories. Faces from the past flickered and twisted. She could see the eyes of her friends, her family, twisted in pain and terror, pleading for help. "Mommy, don't go into the dark," Sarah screamed, pulling on Jessica's hand as they hurtled toward the trembling light. "I won't," Jessica vowed, feeling the ground pulse like a heartbeat beneath her feet. But another shadow split the air overhead, casting a menacing sheen across her vision, unveiling a vision of darker truths. Each desperation-fueled step felt further from safety, so close, yet so far. "Why do you run? You know who you are," the figure's voice echoed hauntingly, driving deeper the chill snaking through her limbs. "Join us." The light dimmed significantly, casting an ethereal glow that twisted shapes into phantoms of despair. Just beyond that threshold loomed whether fear would claim her soul. Would they truly escape or fall deeper into the darkness? With no time left to ponder, Jessica took a deep breath, determined to dispel the haunting echoes of her past, focusing solely on the warmth of Sarah's small hand in hers. Together, they lunged. As they crossed the boundary, an unbearable crack resounded, and Jessica felt her heart leap. But then, the ground ripped apart, opening beneath them. "Mommy, no!" The scream rang in her ears, chilling her. As the abyss yawned wider, a freezing wind swept them off their feet. Did they just leap into salvation, or were they plunging headfirst into something even darker? The weight of the choice bore down on her. And just like that, the darkness surged around them, swallowing hope whole. Would they find the light, or would the shadows once again reclaim what was lost? The fall felt endless, surreal. Jessica gripped Sarah's hand reflexively, feeling the warmth of her daughter's tiny fingers wrapped tightly around hers. The wind howled, a wailing chorus as they plunged, swallowed by the chasms of darkness. She screamed. It was impossible to tell if they were rising or plunging deeper. Every instinct screamed for her to protect Sarah, but the black void engulfed them without mercy. Faint images flickered in the depths, grotesque faces twisted in agony, a heart-wrenching plea for help melding with the sound of their descent. Time warped. Jessica felt the pressure of the air and the rush of terror as they landed with a heavy, bone-jarring thud. Momentarily stunned, she blinked against the darkness, enchanted with the sepulchral silence. She lay cradling Sarah, the flickering tranquility pressing around them like tenuous glass, brittle and ready to shatter. "Mommy, are we dead?" Sarah's voice was a whisper, small and fragile amidst the uncertainty. Jessica raised her head slowly, noting the hazy outlines of skeletal trees and decaying structures beneath an unyielding, murky sky. "No, we're not dead. We're somewhere else." Her voice wavered, but she couldn't let panic engulf her. They had to survive. As she stood, pulling Sarah close, shadows slithered across the ground, their movement a silent promise of threat. They crept nearer, hungry and eager, whispering insecurities with every heartbeat. "You can't escape your past, Jessica." She stumbled back, a chill gripping her spine like a vice. "Stay back!
she yelled, emboldened by the instinct to protect her child. But the shadows only lunged closer, their forms swirling in an unsettling dance, capitalizing on her fears. "Mommy!" cried, her small voice cracking, echoing against the cold darkness. It's okay, I'm here," Jessica assured fiercely, trying to shield sorrow with her body. She felt the shadows pressing in, clawing, fingers of black despair lacing around her legs, entangling her. Memories surged, gnashing at her. Faces of lost childhood joy and fading laughter clouded her vision, a reflection of her failures. "I rejected you," the whisper persisted, echoing mercilessly, taunting. Shaking her head wildly, Jessica fought back.
"No, I refuse to be a prisoner of your lies. I make my choices." But as the shadows twisted, her heart raced anew. Past selves emerged, dancing in grotesque mirth. Their forms flickered with anguish, and she recognized them, loved ones trapped in time, their pleas filled with sorrow and despair. Her breath was hitching now, a sense of urgency settling in. "What do you want?" she shouted, fighting against the despair crawling over her skin. "Only the truth," they hissed, the chorus piercing through the quiet. "Join us. We'll lead you to the other side." Darkness crept closer. Tendrils brushed her cheek, slithering into her thoughts. Doubts raged. What if this was her only chance? What if letting go of her hope meant freedom? What if surrendering was the only way forward? Sarah squeezed her hand tighter, pulling Jessica back from the brink of despair. "Mommy, I don't want to die," Jessica snapped out of the horrified trance. "Then we won't. We'll find a way out." Her voice rose in defiance, more sure than she had been moments ago. She steeled her resolve, searching the landscape for a sign, some pathway to freedom among the shadows. And then, amidst their writhing forms, a flicker caught her eye. A sliver of light glinting through the darkness, faint but persistent, beckoning her. "Over there!" she called, tugging at Sarah as she turned toward the light. But the shadow snarled, furious, twisting to block their path. "No, you will not escape! Join us!" The ground shook beneath their feet, an echo of the fierce struggle between light and dark. Jessica swallowed her fear. "Together!" she shouted. "We can do this together!" With all her strength, she pulled Sarah forward, racing toward the light, desperate to escape the grasping shadows. But as they surged ahead, chaos erupted around them, and the very ground split again, creating a chasm that threatened to consume everything once more. "Mommy!" Sarah screamed, her voice laced with fear. And as they fell once again, the realization struck. This was more than a physical battle. It was a war for their souls. Would love guide them through, or would fear snatch away their last chance for escape? The abyss loomed large below them, and in that breathless moment, they plummeted toward an uncertain fate. Would they find hope in the light, or would the shadows finally silence their screams once and for all? The abyss swallowed them whole, spiraling into darkness that clawed at their bodies and minds. Time seemed to unravel around Jessica and Sarah, as if the very fabric of reality was tearing apart. Jessica clutched her daughter tightly, their heartbeats aligned, a pulsing reminder of life amidst the chaos. "Mommy, I'm scared," Sarah cried, voice echoing through the void. "We're going to be okay, sweetheart," Juster shouted, determination surging through her. She could feel the shadows lurking, wisps of fear crawling up her legs. But she wouldn't let them win, not now, not ever. Suddenly, a blinding flash of light exploded around them, creating a stark contrast against the consuming darkness. They were no longer falling, they were floating, suspended in a glowing haze. For a brief moment, Jessica thought maybe, just maybe, they would escape. Then the laughter returned. It churned in the air, sinister and joyful, wrapping around them like smoke. The voices of lost children echoed, warped into a dreadful melody. "Join us, they sang. "No!" Jessica screamed, a fierce battle cry. "I will not be broken by you!" The shadows writhed, pressing closer, trying to ensnare them. "Mommy, make them stop!" Sarah's voice trembled, fear piercing through any sense of safety. Fighting against the currents of despair, Jessica closed her eyes and focused on what truly mattered. "Sarah, remember the park, the swings, the sun shining down on us? Think of the laughter!" Sarah squeezed her hand tightly, her grip unwavering, despite the fear pulling at her heart. "I remember, Mommy," she shouted, her voice brightening like a flicker of hope. "I love it there." Yes, love is stronger than fear, Jessica clung to the mantra. She could feel the warmth spreading from Sarah, wrapping around them as the glow intensified. "Say it with me." "Love is stronger than fear," Sarah exclaimed, a defiant spark igniting her voice. With every repetition, the shadows pulled away, contorting in agony as light surged forth, pushing against the darkness. They fought with renewed strength, the glow growing brighter and illuminating their surroundings. Jessica's heart raced. "Don't stop! Keep going!" "Love is stronger than fear," they shouted in unison, a force crashing against the abyss. As if the very air responded, the chasm began to tremble, fissures cracking through the dark surroundings. The laughter turned into screams, the light piercing the veil of shadows that had sought to consume them. At last, they felt solid ground beneath their feet. The light exploded in a blinding flare, driving the shadows back, revealing a path leading to a distant horizon. "This way!" Jessica yelled, pulling Sarah into a run. They raced forward, the world around them coming alive. It exploded with vibrant colors, the gentle rustle of leaves and sweet melodies of birds filling the air, wrapping around them like a warm hug. Memories unfurled, their laughter in the park, the embrace of friends, and sun-kissed afternoons. But looming at the edge of the landscape stood the dark figure, its grotesque form flickering with anger. "You cannot outrun your fate. I will always have a grip on you," it boomed. "No!" Jessica shouted defiantly. "You have no power over us. We choose love." As she reached her hand out, the warmth enveloped them, pulsating like the beat of a heart. They raced forward, hand in hand, the figure collapsing behind them, dissolving into the light as love surged around them, igniting the air. And then they broke through, the final barrier that separated sadness from freedom. A sudden jolt sent them tumbling onto soft grass, sunlight gleaming down, warming their skin. Jessica gasped, heart racing as she helped Sarah to her feet. They stood in their neighborhood, Cloverfield, where everything appeared vibrant and alive. No shadows lurked behind the trees, no whispers lingered in the air. Instead, children laughed, neighbors greeted one another, and the sun poured warmth into every corner. "Mommy, we're home!" Sarah burst into laughter. "Yeah, we are." Tears filled Jessica's eyes, a mix of relief and elation rolling in waves. They were free of the darkness that had shadowed their hearts. But as the threshold between fear and love settled, Jessica turned. In the distance stood the figure, watching with baleful eyes. It lingered just out of reach, but it was no longer a threat. She held Sarah closer, a fierce pride swelling within her. No matter what happens, we have each other, and that's what truly matters. The shadows receded into nothingness, the laughter turning gentle and harmonious as joy filled the air. "Let's never forget, Sarah. We carry love with us wherever we go," she said, heart bursting with hope. Hand in hand, they walked into the sunlit neighborhood, embracing the beauty of healing and connection. Forever united against any darkness, they took each step together, triumphing over the ghosts haunting Cloverfield, ready to carve out a future where love would always guide their way. To all of you watching, don't forget to subscribe immediately to the channel so you don't miss the next exclusive stories. Smash the like button now to feed the algorithm. Flood the comments section with your reactions and theories about this thrilling conclusion. And don't wait even one more second to share this video with at least 5 friends who need to see this conclusion. You need to support the channel, and only true fans understand how crucial that is.